we talk every year, Todd. We talk about business plans, right? And yet, I talk to so many agents out there. So, I came up with a list, and we can only hit 3 of them today of questions that we should, or considerations that we really need to be, putting into our business plan. So the first one is, are you building a scalable business as opposed to just short-term thinking? And I think for a lot of us, we get caught up in that short-term thinking. We're looking just to put food on the table sometimes, or we don't come to the industry with a business acumen, and we say it all the time. As a real estate agent, you're a real estate entrepreneur. You're running your own business, and all the things that anyone else does to run a business, you're doing the same thing. So first of all, so it does start. Do you have a business plan? And if you do have a business plan, how far out does your business plan go? How far out do your goals go? Because, I'm a reverse engineer type of guy. I like to say, this is where I want to be in 10, 15, 20 years. And then I can start now working backwards and figuring out all the things that I need to do to get there. And then I can divide that, break that down, and break it down to then now saying, okay, what do I need to do today? What do I need to do next week in order to get there? And do you know what needs to take place in order to grow your business?
That's a good question. Yep. Are you volleying over?
How long have we been doing this?
Yeah,
now, when I'm done talking, and then your turn to talk.
You had one more, so that's why I usually wait until you get to your last talking point before I
wanted to
jump
throw that in there after your comments.
All right, okay. So this particular part, do you know what it needs to take place? Yeah, I need to respond to Mike quicker. No, but no. Here's the thing: reverse engineering is brilliant. I can tell you, as you age. And there's going to come a time when you continually think that you're 25, and then there'll come a time you'll continually think you're 35, even though you're 50. And then you'll think you're probably 50 when you're 60 or 62. And then all of a sudden the OS happens and you say, I'm not sure I have enough money to survive after retirement. So the reverse engineering thing is really, really important, because by the time the stereotypical person's mind says, oh, I have to start worrying about this, it's too late. So reverse engineering that back. So I really like that, Mike, because if you do it in a short period of time, you have to significantly sacrifice. But if you do it in little pieces over time, you hardly feel it. And that is the biggest difference between the two. And of course, we all know real estate is there. How far out does your business plan grow? Do you have the business plan? Love those concepts. The biggest thing is that we think that we need to make a 1-year business plan. Or somebody says, where do you want to be 3 years or 5 years from today? Mike, where do you want to live when you retire? Approximately what type of, if you dreamt or dream and you say, hey, I want to be in a 2,400 square foot cabin with a fieldstone fireplace, 350 feet from a running brook or stream that leads into some kind of lake nearby. You've got to be able to picture it. What's the weather like? Can you smell the pines? Can you, and the moment you connect your senses to your vision, that's when you are willing to have the passion that it takes to make that happen.
Yeah, and I want to throw in this other one. How strong is your team around you? Because I know just looking at that, you may not know what I'm talking about. I find it amazing of how our agents, just agents in general, treat their lenders, treat their title reps, treat their home inspectors. Of this maybe an entitlement mentality that they're here to serve me, and so forth. If you want to scale, you have to have a team around you. And that's what I mean by your team around you. And you have to have the right people. And there has to be a give and take and so forth. Because, and for me, the people that we surround ourselves around with are people that we want to emulate. They're big teams, and they've done things, and they can grow with us. Because nothing's worse than you finally experience some growth, and then you've outgrown your team around you.
I got one piece on that, Mike, because that's probably one of the biggest mistakes agents make but you got to hear the whole comment, which is, okay, I'm a realtor, so what do? I'm taught to find another realtor in the office that's doing the kind of production I want to do. So if they're doing, I'm zero and I want to do 2 million. So I go find a $2 million producer and I learn what they do. I listen to them, I watch them, and not just one, but many of them. Then when it comes time for me to get, I'm at or almost at the 2 million. And now I've got my eyes on a $4 million prize. The problem is I then seek out a $4 million producer. And here's what happens. All your systems have to change. But if you started off your business plan planning on building an $80 million business,
that's such a great segue.
Building an $80 million business, then that's a straight line to success. And every time you can still get answers and help from people, but every single time you go to that, you've achieved one obstacle or milestone, you're going to the next one, you don't have to retool.
All right. So, because that's going to really kind of get into our third point, but what I think one of the other things that are missing from our business plans are unclear financial expectations. We get into this and we don't know. We don't know, realistically how much we can make. We don't realistically know how hard it is. We don't realistically have enough money in savings. We don't, we just don't know. And it's part of your business plan. But, the first question is do you have a budget? I do not know any business owner. I know a lot of restaurant owners and stop laughing, Nick. So I might have what you call a slight weight problem. But I don't know anyone in any other industry that has a business that doesn't have a budget, doesn't know how much money has to come in the door. And sometimes in our business, we don't know. We just haven't broken that down. Maybe we don't have those conversations with our spouses or whatever the case is, and then now we're looking at a little bit of a slowdown from everybody I'm talking to. Everybody's off about 25%. Do you have enough savings? Have you been saving? A lot of us had some great last couple of years. Do you have any savings? And then are you following the market and predictions for the market? We talk about that all the time because it all comes into, my partner and I, we're constantly like, what do we think is going to happen? Where's the market going? Because that adjusts our budget. That we're making changes today that we don't necessarily need to make today, but we are anticipating certain things happening. So let's just make those changes now.
That's so true. So, if most people react, they are, and by being a reactive mentality, you are a victim of all of your surroundings. You're a victim of when the listing agent puts a smaller commission under the cooperating broker compensation field. You're allowing that agent to interfere with your business plan for the year. You should be using a buyer broker exclusive employment agreement with every single buyer. That at least establishes what you're interested in earning, and it helps you maintain your business plan from that perspective. But again, the biggest thing that I see is that people adjust to the market. They don't, meaning that if the market's slow, they're slow. If the market's high, they're high. And the point that I think, Mike, we're trying to get to people today is that you establish where you want to be, and then the strategy is not retooling for slower compensation or slower volume. The strategy is, what do I need to do now to be able to maintain that income, to have that availability, to have those expenses.
Yeah, absolutely. And the third one then comes back to what you were saying. I think a lot of, I know, one of the missing components in most people's business plans are documented systems, procedures, and I love the term protocols. We preach on our team, every real estate event that happens should initiate some sort of system. I think I shared it last week, but I was talking with a fellow comrade of mine who works Central Washington, Northern Oregon area. She did herself over 200 transactions last year. And I always ask the question, if you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice. And she said, create the systems now. Like you're saying, you want to be an $80 million producer. What do those systems look like? But when you have systems, it generates consistency, ensures no one falls through the cracks. You go into a Subway or you go to Chipotle. There's a system to everything, and everything is consistent, and that's where our business needs to be. And so I included some examples. If you're going to do an open house, what system engages, from start to finish? You get a new lead. What happens when you have a new lead? Do you have a checklist of automatic things that happen, automatic things such as your mobile app that you send them, or whatever the case is? When you're going on a listing appointment, what system engages so that every listing appointment is is has everything, and is the same, so that nothing, so you don't miss anything. And of course, my favorite is, the after the close system. I think that's, I'll preach that to the day I die. What happens when you hand the keys to somebody? How do you continue to build those referrals? And so my advice for people is take out a whiteboard and start writing out every single real estate activity that needs and requires a system, and start building it out.
I think the worst word in our real estate agents' vocabulary is when somebody says, "Do you track your numbers?" And the fact is I think track means, oh my gosh, I've got to be too analytical. No, it doesn't. You might have to have somebody on your team who can help, add all those numbers together. But no, you need to track, because if I said to you, of the six, how many different lead generation activities do you do? Oh, I do 5. Or you get the person who really doesn't do anything. They go, oh, I do 10. No, but of the 5, my question is, which one provides you with the highest return? Which one provides you with the highest average sale dollar? But wait a minute, maybe not. That's not the only important thing. Which one provides you with the most individual consumer return? So you have to track these things, not because you want to be analytical, because here's the thing. When times do get tough, which they always do, you need to know which ones you're going to be able to rely on to carry you through that tough time.
Yeah, and I've told the story in the past, and it's a great point. It was last year, I think it was. I was doing a training class for our Scottsdale office on cause marketing, and I'm driving over there, and I go, okay, so that was, I don't even know what year we're in. So I said, okay, 2020. I started going in my head, how many closings resulted from my cause marketing? And it was staggering. It was, I think I closed, 13 just on cause marketing alone, which then I'm like, okay, why am I not double downing on this? Because I hadn't really been tracking, to your point, hadn't really, kept up with it. So good point.
Well, real quick, Mindy talked about it last week too, is when she walks to the offices and she has conversations with agents, something that she asks them is, where's your business coming from? What is causing your business to move or go down right now? And if you can't answer those questions, if you can't look back at the last 6 closings and have the answer in your head quickly, where did those closings come from? You need to reassess what you're doing. It's just that easy.
Because you can't fix what you don't know.